Namaste, ladies and gentlemen, devious Sajno boys and girls. Welcome to another episode of Sounds Good podcast. आज मेरे साथ हमेशा की तरह मेरे बेहतरीन को-होस्ट मिस्टर पार्थ वलुंजकर है, जो देसी हिप हॉप रैपर का स्वैग कैरी करते हैं और हमारे साथ जुड़ चुके हैं मिस्टर तनिष जाधव, जो बहुत ही बेहतरीन आर्टिस्ट है, सिंगर सॉन्ग राइटर है और पुणे के अधिक गिग्स इनके हिस्से में आते हैं, क्योंकि ये बॉलीवुड के गानों को, तरानों को बहुत अच्छे तरीके से कवर करते हैं और बहुत ही बड़े बड़े वेन्यूज पे अगर आप अपनी गर्लफ्रेंड के साथ डेट पे जा रहे हैं तो आप तनिष जाधव जी के गानों पे उनको थिरकते हुए पाएंगे। तो तनिष जाधव जी से बच के रहिए, वरना आपकी लव लाइफ खतरे में है। तो इसी के चलते तनिष जाधव जी का स्वागत करते हैं, प्लीज।
Thank you.
ये बता ब्रो कि who's been your influences as an artist when you started? Who are the people that you look up to? मतलब whenever you also do covers, you have your own touch to it. मतलब you don't try to, you have your own, मतलब your own take, your own essence to whatever you cover. It's not like you are just uber who you are trying to do. So that's also a very big skill. So how did you? Who are the people you look up to?
So I feel like if whenever you're doing cover, like for example, I don't do original that much. Like I'm not into that because from the beginning I've been I want to get into Bollywood. That is something that I want to do. So that is why. But yeah, I try to do covers differently because obviously then कुछ तो originality होनी चाहिए, because in cover भी कर रहे हो, and if you do it the same way with the same essence, let's say I'm covering Arjit Singh or Sonu Nigam or English mixture and all. So okay, so to answer your first question, when I started music when I was 10 years old, तो उस time पे ऐसे कुछ वो नहीं था कि this is my influence or I am influenced by these artists or these artists inspire me, ऐसा because time पे मेरे को पता ही कुछ singers के नाम से, सोनू निगम I knew, लता मंगेशकर जी and सुनिधि चौहान, only like the ones that were famous at that time, right? So I started off in class 5th. So this actually started because at a party I think I sang some lines and some uncle aunties were like, they were telling my parents कि उसको class लगाओ and all, and at that time we were in Ambala, हरियाणा, ठीक है? तो वहां पे so they said इसको क्लासेस लगाओ, ये अच्छा गाता है ये वो, and I don't know, somehow I don't know if it's a gift or what, but वो होता है ना एक स्केल का नॉलेज, इवन इफ सुर जा रहे हैं, but पिच का नॉलेज कि भाई ये गाना पिच पे जा रहा है, यहाँ पिच ऑफ हो गया या इसका पिच, so that I always had, like I don't know how, but I just knew कि हाँ पिच गलत हो रहा है मेरा. So I went on and then started doing this classical की classes लगाए मैंने, Hindustani classical. And then obviously like the teacher told my parents ki he sings nice and he has got that sense of music and how to sing. So yeah, my journey started from there. When I was 10 years old, I started doing music. So 2 years I did Hindustani classical in Ambala, and then my dad got posted to Delhi, and then वहाँ पे again 4 years के लिए I did Hindustani classical. Then I came to Pune. यहाँ पे भी I did classes for a year something, but that was not going very well. Like वो नहीं जम रहा था, टीचर के साथ टाइमिंग भी नहीं ठीक हो रहा था. Then I did my playback singing में diploma. Like it is called playback singing course, but obviously there are a lot of other aspects in that,
Correct, absolutely.
So
where did you do that from, bro? कहाँ से किया? Where have you done
ITA, Indian Intelligence Academy on SBM.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
Yeah, so I did my diploma from there. So that was like he was like the guru I had here. Like touch wood, and fortunately all the gurus that I've had have been very nice and like very supportive, because usually people tend to keep one guru from starting to end, and I think that is very good because you have that connection, right? But because of all the posting and stuff, I cannot do that. So
absolutely.
Yeah, and after completing my diploma, so it is only घर पे बैठ के रियाज and all I do. And yeah, and apart from that, I try to cover difficult songs जानबूझ के, just to see कहाँ तक जाता है.
So that brings me to our next question. What is the most difficult song you've covered, and why is that so?
The most difficult song, I don't know. Like, I mean, difficulty can be perceived in different ways in music. Like, for example, a song can be difficult in a way कि इसके सुर बहुत difficult है लगाना. And there can be song जिसका range पहुंचना बहुत difficult है.
Correct.
So ऐसे I guess 2-3 या कुछ में एकदम खरच, यानी कि एकदम lower में जाना पड़ता है, वो भी difficult होता है. Right. So I think one of the most difficult songs that I prepared was Lal Ishq by Arjit Singh. It was like a purely classical based song, and I actually had prepared that for the Indian Idol audition and all. So yeah, so that was also a different experience altogether. Indian Idol. Yeah. So in Indian Idol, I had like prepared the song because my guru was like, you do this song. Like you need something, पहली ही line में लगना चाहिए, because उनके ऐसा time होता ही नहीं है. 15 सेकंड कुछ सुनते हैं and then like जाओ next. So in that, I sang this song and I was like, I got selected in the first round. Second round, I could not make it. But yeah, that was also a very, very weird experience. I did not sleep for 24 hours straight. Like,
Damn.
you go and sit in the line रात को at 12 I went अंधेरी में. I sat 12 बजे and obviously नींद तो आती नहीं है, सब गा रहे होते हैं, प्रैक्टिस कर रहे होते हैं एकदम, और सबको देख के ना ऐसे डर भी लगता है कि क्या तैयारी है लोगों की, और हम लोग यहाँ पे आए. So yeah, that was altogether a different experience.
मेरे को ये बता कि लाइक आई नो कि इंडियन आइडल का जो ऑडिशन है दैट 2-3 राउंड होते हैं, देन यू गेट टू द जजेस ना, ऐसा कुछ है?
Agreed, yeah.
है ना? So
Yeah.
right. So would you still have aspirations to get into reality show? You want to take your own path? What is like your
No, I don't think I want to like get into reality shows now, because
Hmm.
a lot of things even I realized when I went there. Like, I should not speak ill of anything, because see, I feel like when reality shows started, Indian Idol, Sarangappa, initial 2-3 seasons were very legit. Like, that is what I felt. And now eventually it has all become about TRP and judges going on stage, and I don't feel like exactly, I agree. So basically, even if you look at like American Idol and X Factor and all, see, even these have got some fake things and all, and that obviously will be there, because like, do you know this guy? Yeah, do you know this guy Rumi Official on YouTube? He's like a huge artist. Like, he has got 3-4 million subscribers, and he like obviously he like breaks down artists' songs and all. He does that, right? So even he said, I got a letter from X Factor, and the contract actually says all these things, that you will be given a backstory, or your backstory can be manipulated for the sake of the show.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, but I feel that at least one thing is not that I feel that judges should not go on the stage and sing with the it should be purely professional, right? That is what I feel. And apart from that,
imagine you getting to Indian Idol and they're like, you're standing on stage and then they're showing you your AV and you're like, अरे मैं government school में नहीं पढ़ा हूँ, मेरे घर में बिजली थी. But yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
but
I feel कि when you go to Indian Idol, what your voice broke.
अभी दिख रहा है? Can you see me now?
Yeah. No, I mean, but because of Indian Idol, I met a lot of good people. So I made friends with them. Mumbai में था मैं उस time पे. And and apart from that, and it was a good experience, because that was also kind of struggle, because not sleeping for 24 hours, and then there's no toilet services, anything. You have to like really find out. Yeah, exactly. And I met a couple of friends as well from Pune itself. Like literally, I finished my first round at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and after that, second round was at 12 at night. Like, I was like, literally, how like, obviously it is very difficult to sing when you're sitting for those many hours and you don't really sleep. You cannot sleep. Nahi aati hai neem us time pe.
Correct.
It is kind of difficult, but it was very cool. Like, the second round had all these instruments and all, and you have to sing with the instruments. And then after that, nothing. I came home late at night, Pune.
Right. I think when you ever go to a competitive, or when you meet like-minded people in a large gathering, I think it somewhat, I mean, differentiates your innocence that you carry about the particular thing you do. That is what I have noticed.
Yeah. And like
you realize that
a lot of
things. You realize that absolutely. Like, you realize that a lot of things that I was perceiving, like probably I was in a bubble for a very long time, or not that, or probably sometimes you even feel ki what I was trying to get towards is not exactly how this is, or not at this level. शायद आगे जाके वैसा होगा या कुछ होगा, और आई एम मिसिंग अ फ्यू लेवल्स. लाइक, यू थिंक कि अभी मैं घर पे गा रहा हूँ, या मैं गिग्स में गा रहा हूँ, या मैं कवर्स कर रहा हूँ, या ये कर रहा हूँ, और आई एम गोइंग टू पुट माय ओरिजिनल्स आउट, एंड ऑल ऑफ अ सडन आई एम गोइंग टू बी गिगिंग लाइक अ प्रॉपर एस्टैब्लिश्ड म्यूजिशियन. उसके बीच के स्टेप्स लोगों को नहीं दिखते कि वो लोग एक ट्रांजिशन फेज जो रहता है कि वो कैसा रहता है. एंड द पीपल हु सर्वाइव द ट्रांजिशन फेज और आर विलिंग टू सर्वाइव दैट, अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल जस्ट मेक इट ओवरनाइट, but the chances of overnight are also very less, it does happen.
And anyways, I mean, if you have gone through a particular, people want to term it as struggle. I mean, if you go through the process, you learn a lot of things which are needed for you to sustain, right? So if you are like a overnight success, I don't see much sustenance in that. Even
it depends from person to person. Like I heard. Yeah, so there
Justin
are people.
Bieber and Shawn Mendes, I think these are like overnight successes.
No, Justin Bieber का case भी बहुत different है. See, you might say he's an overnight success, but then when he got to that point, the amount of hate that he got was like unjustified.
Unbelievable.
And he was also in a place where he was also transitioning, and he was like, he had that cultural shock of the kind of life that he was suddenly subjected to. कि सब मतलब उसको पसंद कर रहे हैं. He's the talk of the town. He's selling out arenas. इतने बड़े गाने हो रहे हैं. He's getting paid. So you might say he's an over, like sustaining the fact that he sustained it through
Yeah,
also gives a lot of credit to.
yeah, that's what actually is needed. I
A lot of people,
mean,
lot of
yeah,
people might have two big tracks, three big tracks, but then they also don't know what to do exactly.
exactly, yeah.
Exactly. Like a
There are a
little
lot of
nice
people.
Old Town Road. Like I don't know, like he's not there anymore. Remember, like
No,
Old Town Road was like a
he
huge
just
thing.
put out a. I think he just put out a track now recently. I don't know ki kya scene है उसका.
Uh-huh.
But no, but I think it's just ki sometimes what happens is ki, like I think that happened with Ritviz also. Like he all of a sudden he had this big track, and
Old guy.
mind you, I matlab happened to follow him before he had Udgai. So like we
Oh,
saw
damn.
Udgai happening right in front of us. You know, so
Oh,
I remember that time when because he was like we happened to be in the same school and all of that. So I
oh,
knew him
damn.
from before fame. So I matlab not know him that well. Like we met and all,
But
but I don't know him that well. But so I saw how all of that changed, and you also must have seen, like I think he didn't put out a track for a year or something. A lot of people have
Right.
that. Like when something works, they are also trying to. And I think now what's happened is in the day and age of social media, you have a lot of examples right in front of you that you can just study to understand what you should do. Because when people try to just when they've tasted a kind of success and they are trying to decipher or they are trying to reverse engineer what has worked and then try to use those same mechanics to put something out again which will probably resonate with that is fine. Matlab, you will have a safer bet. But then like what happened with Sai who did Gangnam Style, or you have a lot of examples. And Sai, mind you, is still a very big musician down South Korea. He's in South Korea, right? I mean,
yeah.
he's
K-pop.
he's on K-pop. He's one of the biggest musicians out there. He has his own music label also. So I think it just takes time for people to like like they say that slow success builds character and all those things come in play. Like when you work so hard for the like I'll give you Pratik Gandhi's example. He said that he said that when people were appreciating me for Scam, I didn't know why they're appreciating me because I've been doing the same thing all around. Like whenever I work. He's done this for 15 years, he's saying. And he had a job in routine as well. So he said that success is when opportunity meets preparation. A lot of people, like that's the problem with overnight success. Either you become too grateful about what you've got all of a sudden, and then you try to safeguard that and work even harder, or you get to the success and you are entitlement seeps in and you're like, no, I deserve this, and then you start waving your own ways and all of that. So it is a very thin line. A lot of people don't know what can stick to the wall, and like you don't know, people might take out something 5 years old and make you famous now for that. So you don't know what works when. Probably it might not work in its own time. A lot of great artists were not respected in their own times, and now they are, they are the Bible. Their work is the Bible for a lot of artists in that particular field. So it is. I think it's a very like the biggest saying, which is art is subjective. You don't know what can work, what will not work. People are just people. There's a lot of herd mentality when it comes to popularization and pop culture. Like people, whatever is just working. People are so accustomed to have that constant gratification of people to imply that they like something that they themselves don't know what they like. So,
and
all these things come to
like overnight success, if you have, like for example, even Ud Gaye, like it was a hit. It was a like it was a very got hit very fast. It was a huge hit. Exactly. But I feel that after that, even artists feels that pressure that this song should be better than my last one, because they have set that bar that that people now expect कि इतना ही अच्छा गाना होना चाहिए, and obviously it cannot happen all the time, right?
Absolutely. And I think absolutely. Were you saying something? Sorry, I cut you.
No.
So, but I think the best study in that case is Ritviz himself also, and I'll come to another artist, Ritviz himself, because he followed it up with some really brilliant other tracks, different kind of tracks. Of course, they were in their own zone, but he didn't typecast himself as that person. Like all of his songs, even though you know that it's his music, sound different in their own right, are different tracks in their own right. Also, another example which I feel who's really relevant in this is Emiwe Bantai, because Emiwe Bantai has been putting out tracks since 2012 or 13, I guess, if I'm not wrong, and he consistently put out a track every month until he had those diss tracks which got him discoverability, and there was a lot of polarizing. He got a lot of hate, but then there was a huge new fan base which came, which were attracted, and then he had Machayenge and all these tracks which came. But the best thing about him is, I think Gary Vee had also spoken about this in an interview, that all these artists who are consistently putting out stuff are one big track away. You don't know that one big track, what it might be. Eminem also said that he made Machayenge, मतलब ऐसे ही मतलब मजाक में बना दिया था वो गाना. So imagine him working all these hours in studios. So I think it's a very, the reward of the process is very uniquely distributed to you. Like you don't know ki what is the reward. Like you, I think I'm citing a lot of examples, but I think even Alia Bhatt was speaking about the fact that Ranbir Kapoor had once told her that, or like sometimes your good movies that you worked hard towards will not reward you, but the movies that you've not worked so hard in will reward you. It's like it's like a weird process, you know.
Yeah.
So like you hear a lot of mainstream artists have a lot of underrated music because they themselves, want to break themselves out of the mold that the public, the persona has given them. तो
Yeah.
वो वाली बातें हो जाती है. तो ओवरनाइट सक्सेस एंड ब्रो, आई मीन वी लिव इन अ वर्ल्ड की अटेंशन स्पैन इतना कम है कि यू डोंट नो कि 15 सेकंड का रील देखने के लिए लोग 8 सेकंड में छोड़ देते हैं. तो लोगों के लिए रेलेवेंट रहना ये डे एंड एज में जहाँ पे इतना ज्यादा कॉम्पिटिटिवनेस है, इतना क्वांटिफाइबल कंटेंट है लोगों का, और इतने कॉम्पिटिटर्स है विद इन द सेम जॉनर की, लोगों के लिए एग्जिस्ट करना, और हर 15 दिन में एक नया ओवरनाइट सक्सेस आ रहा है, तो क्या बोल सकते हैं. So I think it's about that. But I think if you are consistent and honest to your process and sincere about what you're doing, you will always have people who will appreciate your work, and eventually you will hit the you will get gold out of what you're doing. So I think वो वाली बात है. तो मेरे को ये बताओ, considering what we've spoken about this, how do you approach your career? Like, do you consider yourself to be competitive in any way, or are you taking things slow? What is it like for you?
Like, I do feel like I'm a little competitive, but a healthy competition does not hurt anyone actually, because like obviously you listening to different people, listening to different covers on YouTube, or in general people in open mics, or I look at people at open mics, I'm like, yo काफी अच्छा गा रहा है, why cannot I sing better than him, or why cannot I sing the way he did, this particular things in a song, right? So yeah, I feel a little healthy competition is always good, and and apart from that, I just feel ki, but at the end of the day, like especially in the, actually not just in the artist wala circle, but in general, I think you should stay like humble, even though no matter how good your work is, because
absolutely.
Yeah, because in the end, I feel that people appreciate you as a person before your work, because
yeah, because absolutely, like, and I think you're completely right about that.
Yeah,
because I feel ki the people, when people are judging to other people too critically, they don't realize that if they are doing same line of work, or if they are doing any kind of work, they are also enabling themselves to that amount of criticism. Like if you are too analytical about somebody from your in the same field, then you are going to be scrutinized for the same thing. Either unless you are like a pro and you are like 5 levels above the person that you're criticizing, and there's some valid criticism. If you yourself are in a learning curve and you're working your way up, and you are also criticizing your peers or the people who are doing the same thing as you at the same point of time, then the people around you will also be more analytical and critical towards you, because you enable them to this lens that you are seeing them through. So I think it is like everybody has opinions about, like you have opinions about me, I have opinions about you, but that doesn't mean ki we are vocal about it. And I don't prefer watching the good only in other people. Like like if we become too honest also about us, like how we are, or even if I think the fine line is not being too honest and not being too fake about how we are. Like I think that is how you can, like if I'll be too honest, this is the kind of person I'm honestly. Like I'm not too, like I think the kind of person that people think, or like people might think about you is different from how you are in a house. I think of course there's a
obviously
of sorts. At one point of time, those personalities merge, like with time and all. So वो वाली बात भी हो जाती है. Like I think I'm way more serious on podcast than I'm on stage, or so and so, So वो वाली बात तो है ही absolutely. But how do you see yourself? Do you think that your stage persona is widely different from the person you are at home, or like how's it for you?
I wouldn't say there's a lot of difference actually, because on stage, like,
in what sense? Like how do you think you are slightly different also if you perceive yourself to be so?
Like on stage, obviously, like in general in life, if you like hang out with me, and I'm like very, very spontaneous, and like I'm very open with other people. Like
I've noticed about you.
Yeah.
Even on stage, you are pretty spontaneous. I've noticed that.
Yeah, but obviously that spontaneousness is obviously not like 100%, because like I have to see what I speak, right?
Correct.
I cannot
There's
just
a filter.
say,
there's a filter.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, there's a filter, obviously, and I cannot just speak anything that comes to my mind at that time. But yeah, I obviously try to stay spontaneous and all, because I feel like as long as you're having fun on stage, that is all that matters, and in people, people like that. So yeah, and other than that, one thing that I did face on stage, like in between this happened. Okay, so like I started doing open mics. I started with Orange Octopus itself, right? And Orange Octopus I started, and then they were going pretty good. Like each and every open mic was going like very good, like better than I expected. The crowd response and even the way I was singing, and then gigs and all happened. But then what happened was, like then I got my first gig, and gigs are like 1 hour, 1.5 hour long you have to perform. So I had never
Right.
performed. Ghar pe I had performed, practice and all. So but what happened that I had become a little overconfident. That I went through that phase, thoda sa, where I was like, I'll do it because open mics are
I
like
call
super
it the
difficult.
first wave
I
of
really,
overconfidence. I call it the
yeah.
first wave of overconfidence. Like every artist when they get on the stage for the first time and when they are tasting some kind of appreciation or success, I feel that
Mm-hmm.
there's that inbuilt ego that steps in, and then they
Yeah.
because they have not been able to. It's just whatever they are assessing and basing their own attributes on is a very
Mm-hmm.
short span of time to really decide, because how you can test things is always in the long run, right? You can never determine something in a short
Yeah,
span
yeah.
of time.
Exactly.
So
I
it is
did
about
realize that. I realized that very
yeah.
soon because like I could see like in my first gig, I opened very nicely and all. It was going good. But then eventually, obviously, my voice started cracking a bit. I was drinking water, obviously. But I had to. I was like, I have to be on. Like, I have to pitch. I have to try to be pitch perfect because
Right.
that is something I've practiced, right? But obviously, but it is an eye-opening thing because it obviously breaks you a little
Mhm.
and
Right.
it gives you more a wider picture
Perspective.
of what, yeah,
Perspective.
exactly, better perspective on what you should do and what you should not do. So
Right.
I feel that it is good that I face this now
Mm.
instead of very later in life because
Imagine you singing all the high pitch songs in the first 15 minutes of a set, and then you are like, भैया गरम पानी गरम पानी. People are
yeah,
अरे नहीं नहीं
exactly.
चन्ना चन्ना मेरिया तो गाओ चन्ना.
Exactly. And
Like it happens.
the thing you said about ego. So basically, I was watching this documentary on Shawn Mendes. It is on Netflix right now.
Right.
Shawn Mendes in Wonder, right? So Shawn
Mm.
Mendes, yeah, I look up to him like he's a good singer. Obviously, even he like got everything very quickly and all you can say, but
Mm.
he kind of maintained it. And
Yeah.
but I saw the documentary. It is a decent documentary. It is not like very eye opening and all. But the first line that he says in that documentary, it actually was very it like hit me actually. He says that you go on that stage and there's 50,000 people screaming your name. And the first thing that happens that ego comes rushing in, no matter how
Mm.
many times you do it. And then obviously he says
Mm.
that, but the important part is you have to realize why you are here and just enjoy the music because that ego will come in. Because obviously, like, that entitlement does come in here and
It's
there, but you
insane.
have to be
It's insane. To tame
exactly like
yourself at that stage is insane.
exactly because like even an open mic or a gig, if 15 people are
One good open mic. Yeah.
exactly. It gets to
Yeah.
your head, and 50,000 people screaming your name is a different thing altogether. I think that is
Absolutely.
what is important as an artist, to keep your sanity and like to be on the ground.